So, you guys wanted me to talk about 5th century women's clothing. Now, for the 5th century, we're lacking some evidence, so we'll have to step back and do some investigation. First off, our foundation is the Latin clothing and influences that would have came into Ireland, the Celtic influences. Then, when we look into later literature, we can clearly see that there was a Roman influence that came into Ireland. And if we look at archaeological sites dated to the 5th century, we can see that there's a lot of Hiberno-Roman finds at the site. So we have something to work off of. So, first and foremost, and this is just a educated guess, she would have had a headscarf on, most likely if she was married. An unmarried woman would not have a headscarf because she's trying to advertise herself. Now, the first thing she would have put on this morning would have been her under tunic, which would have been made of linen. On top of that, she would have put on a dress of the 5th century, which would have been her stola. In Ireland, it most likely would have been made of wool, but if she was of the upper class, it most likely was made of silk. Now, Ireland at the time is quite cold, so she most likely put on her cloak, which eventually gets known in Ireland and in Scotland as the Great Kilt. Once again, if she was of a higher status, it would have been probably made out of silk. In the lower class, on the other hand, most likely wool. But Ireland's cold, so even if I was of the upper class and a woman, I would have worn wool as well. Now, when it comes down to the jewellery of the 5th century, first and foremost, I definitely would have to keep an eye on all the archaeological finds that are starting to pop up in Ireland. But furthermore, try to investigate into Roman Britain finds in Britain of the 5th century, which may give us an idea of how women were dressing in the 5th century. Now, don't forget to comment below if you have anything you want me to elaborate on, or if you wanted to elaborate on anything yourself. And don't forget my Patreon. I do classes every weekend, so definitely pop on over there and have an old nosy for yourself.